Now we're going to talk about our oven, our cooktop, and our vent hood. So this is a metal vent hood up top. Anything that we're cooking here needs to be protected. So we have these types of items that protect any type of fire, steam, smoke, because we don't want it to get onto these metal or these wooden cabinets and catch on fire. So this vent hood is kind of a protection device. It also allows any of the odors, any of the steam, any smoke, anything like that to be collected up, and it goes out of this metal pipe and travels out of the building. And that's a safe way to kind of protect the building as well. So we have a couple of switches right here. You can hear it, it's going to come on. That's our vent fan. It's got 2 speeds. You can hear it, there it is. And then we also have our light switch right here. So we can turn our lights on, give us a little bit more visibility. The switch is on and off right here. And then we also have our variable fan, which sucks air upward. And then, take that off. This is a filter. So any type of grease, any smoke, anything that's going up, it needs to be filtered out. These filters, there's 2 of these. They pop in and out with this little lever right here. They need to be thrown into the washing machine or cleaned off every so often, really just depending on how much you use your cooktop. If you're working at McDonald's or Burger King and you're frying up thousands of burgers every day, there's going to be a lot of grease that gets trapped in these. So you want to clean them off really often. What's next? We have our control knobs along the top of the stove here. We've got our small burner in the back. We've got a double burner here in the front and a double burner on the right side in the front, and then another small burner in the back. Our control knobs, we've got our bake, broil, cancel, off, start, self-clean, plus and minus, some more controls. We'll do it up close on that in just a moment. But essentially, whenever you turn the knobs on, the elements are going to heat up and you'll be able to see them turn red. When we have an electric cooktop, if you use gas at home, you'll be able to ignite it with a pilot light and a striker. I'm going to turn that off. Don't want to burn myself here. And I think I'm going to bring you guys in for a little bit closer view. Okay, so here's my oven dials. I'm going to turn this light off so we can see. Turn the small burner on high, and we should be able to see this small burner right here light up. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back burner on high as well. So there's our inside burner. I can feel the heat coming off there. There's our back burner. These are going to be really hot, and you notice that this tells us the burner is on. So I'm going to turn the back one off, and I'm going to turn the front high one on. So you should be able to see 2 rings coming up here now. And you just want to be very careful with that. And then again, I've got another button here that tells me we have a hot cooktop. Whenever we are using pans, always make sure that you have the correct size pan. This is a dangerous situation just because the outside rim is still hot. So I would want to make sure that I am only using my small burner when I use a small pan. So that's something to keep in mind. Next thing we have is our oven here. If we open up the oven door, you can see it's got several racks inside. These racks do slide in and out. You want to be careful with those. They will lock into place, but you can adjust them. So if you need something on a higher rack or a lower rack, as far as temperature, you can adjust those in place. Whenever you are bringing food in and out of your oven, make sure that you put the oven door all the way down and that it stays down. There's a couple of hinges on either side of the oven door, and they act as kind of a spring, so they're going to allow the door to come back up and close. So you want to make sure that the oven door is all the way down, because if I'm reaching in here to get some food, what happens is I can burn my back of my arm on this door that's going to be really hot. So be careful with that. The other thing, when you're pulling these racks out, you need to be able to reach and grab some food. They are stable, they will hold a lot of food, but you gotta have them in the right position because they will fall down also. You don't want that to happen. There are two heating elements in the oven. There's one up top and there's one down below. Those come on when we turn the heat on in the oven. If we do broil, only the top heating element is going to come on, and that puts a lot of heat from the top of the oven. Normally, if we just turn bake on, both the bottom and the top heating elements are going to come on. There's a little kind of a rope looking mesh thing right around the door here that allows the seal to keep all the heat in place. These are our oven controls. You got bake, which we can go ahead and turn that on. It automatically comes up to 350 degrees. You can use the plus and the minus to change the temperature settings. I'm going to leave it at 350 degrees right now. I'm going to hit start. That PRE, that stands for preheat, so the oven is going to heat up before it actually reaches its temperature, and you can put the food into it. We also have cancel and off. That simply turns the oven off. We have broil, which is a kind of a special heat. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that in a moment. We have oven light, which we can turn the light on and see what's inside. We can turn that oven light off. And then we can also set a timer for however long you might want to cook your food. Set the clock. Cook time is also an interesting one. Stop beeping. Cook time allows you to set a certain time for your item to cook. So if I wanted to cook for 2 hours and then the oven shut off, I could do that. And then delay time. So if I wanted to go to work, but I wanted my food to come on, say at 10 o'clock in the morning after I was already gone from home, I can do delay time, and that will turn the oven on at a later point. Now I'm going to turn my broil on and click start and show you what that looks like, because broil is a heat that arises only from the top of your oven. So we're looking inside the oven here. I've got a heat coil down below, and I also have a heat coil up top, and you can see that it is glowing red, so that's the heat. When both of these coils are lit, that's going to heat your entire oven. But broil, as you can see, only comes from the top. So we're going to turn that off. Cancel. And the next thing we're going to look at is bake. I'm going to turn it up to about 400. So it'll get heated up really fast. That'll work. And it's preheating again. But again, when both of these heating coils come on, you're going to be able to see the lower heating coil also turn red. So my oven is preheating. And we're going to take a look inside, and you can see that now the bottom coil is also glowing nice and hot. So when you do a regular bake, the top and the bottom coils are going to glow, and that's going to produce the heat. Here's one more example. This is a little bit different control knob. So again, the coil's inside. This is on broil on the temperature gauge there. So only the top coil is going to heat when you broil. You can see the bottom coil is still cold down below. I'm going to go ahead and spin this knob and turn that off. On this oven, you've got your light there, and the knobs are a little bit different. When you have a stove like this, you've always got to be cautious that you don't bump into the knobs with your body and accidentally turn on the stove top here. So be cautious when you're walking around stoves that have knobs in the front. There's one small lever right here that we're not going to use very often. That's for a cleaning. So if I wanted to clean the inside of the oven, I would turn the oven on, and I've got to lock this in place, and it makes the door lock in place because it's going to heat the inside of the oven up really, really hot, and it has to be locked to make sure that no one can get in there until it's cooled off. Last thing, you have a drawer down here. We keep a couple of pans in here. We've got a baking sheet and a cooking sheet. Just kind of a storage area. You can also put items in there if you wanted to keep them warm and your oven was on. Let's take a look. We've got our oven light here. You can kind of see the oven light come on. There's a couple of safety things. When your oven is in place, it should not tip over. There's what's called an anti-tip device in the back that allows your oven to be stable. So if I had a 30-pound turkey that I was cooking in here and I put my turkey down on the oven door, the whole oven doesn't tip over because that is dangerous. So I'm going to show you the anti-tip safety device. As well as we're going to look at some electricity. So here is my anti-tip device, and that just goes right up into the tiny little leg. You can kind of see the leg, it slides into that slot and it keeps the oven from tipping over. The other thing over here is our 220 volt electric line. That's what supplies electricity to our oven. It is dangerous. Normal electrical outlets are 110 volt. So 220 is double the amount of electric current that comes out of there. And you want to be really, really careful. Don't ever touch those lines.